Hi, this is Mr. Fowles, and we're going to have a quick video about the Battle of Gettysburg, which is in Chapter 17, Section 3 of our textbook, and actually this is only part of that section, but we're going to talk about it. Begin with your bell work. You can pause. So if you think about it, the election of Abraham Lincoln, that set the Civil War in motion, that set secession in motion. The Battle of Bunker Hill was the first battle, and the Battle of Antietam was in 1862, so it's actually 1860, 1861, 1862, so clearly 1, 2, and 3. Let's go full screen. So what we're going to do is talk about the Battle of Gettysburg, mostly. Kind of talk about the downfall of the Confederacy, at least the Army of Northern Virginia, and then at the end, the Gettysburg Address. These are the notes. This is a map I want you to kind of think about filling in as you watch this. And what we have here, just to kind of take the esoterica out of history, is a photograph of the Battle of Gettysburg aftermath. Very real. I'm going to let you draw your conclusions. We're going to come back to this, actually. But how did we get to where we are at the Battle of Gettysburg, which is in 1863? And you have to think, first there was slavery in the southern U.S., and then the southern U.S. grew into a sectional identity where people cared more about the South than about the country, and people cared more about the North than the rest of the country, which led eventually to secession upon the election of Abraham Lincoln, which is when the southern states drew off and tried to form their own country. And then there was the battle, I'll call it a battle, but more of maybe a raid at Fort Sumter in South Carolina, and then the Battle of Antietam in 1862, which killed off a lot of troops on both sides, and then the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed all the southern slaves in early 1863. And this here is Antietam again. This is President Lincoln and the sunken road, which is a mass grave site. So something to think about. And then when we think about the Civil War, you want to think there are two main theaters: a Western theater along the Mississippi, and a lot of stuff in the Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania area, and all along the East Coast as well, which kind of goes along with the Anaconda Plan. The head of the snake is looking at the Mississippi River, and there are battles all along this. And then the Richmond, Virginia area, so you got Virginia, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Pennsylvania, and of course there are battles all throughout, but this is just kind of a very gross simplification. And so we begin with Gettysburg. There was a battle. Here's the basic chronology. This is all 1863. The battle began on July 1st and ended on July 3rd, and it's really prominent for the staggering loss of life and how it was a turning point. It was a Union victory. What had happened was that Robert E. Lee had been winning a series of battles, and he wanted to in Virginia, and he wanted to push north into the Union to show his muster and show that he could win a war in Northern Territory, and hopefully get some foreign aid and get the Confederacy recognized as an independent country. So he marched his troops north into Pennsylvania, and on June 30th, again, this is a very simplified version, they came across some Union troops. And rather than duking it out right there, both sides called for reinforcements, and the Battle of Gettysburg began. Let's go to the map here. So the troops came in, and the Union was pushed through the town, and they set up their... Actually, I think I've even got a better one. You can kind of see a live version. Here's a map of Gettysburg from Google Maps. There's the city, and you can see a little bit of... We'll see what it looks like right now. Farmland right now. But there's the map. But if we get the terrain back, you can see there's some hills here. It's very kind of hilly area. There was a lot of fighting down here and a lot of fighting up here around these hills. There were highly contested areas. I'm not sure if I'm going to get this back or not. So July 1st is there was just a lot of fighting. July 2nd, the Confederacy tried to come in from the northeast and the southwest, um, and the Union lines held on July 3rd. Pickett's charge came. You can see it, Pickett. He was a commander, and he led a charge directly into the line after a pretty good bombarding from artillery shells and staggering loss of life. This is the 6,500 killed or wounded. In the Confederacy alone, it was at 1,500 if you include Union losses in 1 hour. So if you divide the division, it's 1.8 killed or wounded per second. So in a classroom of 30 students, that would be 15 seconds to pretty much obliterate the entire group, just to get an appreciation for the math. And yeah, that was the aftermath. And these are some good links, actually, if you want to investigate them on your own. This one, Gettysburg here. 28,000 Confederate casualties, including 4,500 killed, 23,000 Union casualties. So you can see that the Union had more troops. Total, 83,000. The Confederates had 75, but Confederates lost 28,000. And Lee, I think this was like a third of his, Robert E. Lee lost a third of his army, the Army of Northern Virginia. So you can see this is a very staggering loss for the Confederacy, and they never recovered. The Confederacy was never able to really mount another really good battle, and for the next 2 years, Grant and Lee started chasing each other around this area, fighting. So that's really about. Oh yeah, and then, in November, the area, the battleground was consecrated as a national cemetery, and Abraham Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address, which if you click on this link here, you'll get the dramatic reading of it, and you can get the text. And this is just kind of fun. If you can spot Abraham Lincoln, there's the only picture of him at Gettysburg, and that's where he is right there. He doesn't have his top hat on. And then these are some questions from our textbook, 549, 551. You can look them up, copy them, and write the answers. For this question here, how long in kilometers is the road that runs from the town of Gettysburg to South Little Round Top? This is the road I'm talking about. So you have to measure it using the scale in kilometers. And that is all. All right, thank you very much.